Welcome back to the CAM Recap Show where we cover AMD, KLIC, and MDC. So let's just jump right into it. We have AMD on the screen right now. You can see they started the week at around 127, finished around 136. Some items that happened in the news for AMD. Number one, we have their deal with Global Foundries actually expanded recently. They went from a $1.6 billion deal up to a $2.1 billion deal where they buy the silicon wafers from the company. So they are planning ahead, trying to get their supplies in order. Something else that occurred with AMD versus NVIDIA here. AMD, they are in video games, just like NVIDIA is, but AMD has their chips both in Microsoft and Sony. And those two companies, as far as their gaming console, is projected to grow a lot faster in 2022. So that's good news for AMD. AMD also, we have a deal with Tesla. This deal with Tesla is meant to supercharge AMD stock in the long run. The automaker will add AMD processors to its Model Y, which it will sell in China. And it already has chips in previous Tesla models, so this is just an expansion of the deal that's already in place with them. Moving on to the next one, we have AMD. Okay, so this one's a little bit of shaky news, especially for the beginning. So the spread of the new variant could also exacerbate the supply chain issues. So that links back to that Global Foundries article at the beginning that have plagued semiconductor industry in recent months, leading to a potential loss of sales for AMD if it can't make enough chips to satisfy that end market demand. All this indicates that AMD stock may get off to a shaky start at the start of 2022, and we'll go into the technical analysis very soon towards the end. So in 2022, the beginning, they might be a little shaky on account of that factor, the supply chain. However, any weakness in the stock can be treated as a buying opportunity, since there are several reasons why AMD should blast higher in 2022 and beyond. Next we have, once again, we covered this last week, that deal with Linux is now expected to close in 2022. This $35 billion all-stock deal for peer Linux now expected to happen towards the end of this first quarter. So within the next 3 months, we're hoping that that actually closes, because we should see a big boost in AMD stock price after that. Then this article, let's see. So going into that a little deeper, so Linux, they are a leader in field programmable gate arrays, FPGAs. So we're still getting familiar with these terminologies, but this is going to open a new front for AMD as it continues to take up more of Intel's market share in multiple areas. And once again, FPGAs from Linux, it's a flexible chip type that can be reprogrammed at the hardware level, have also been on the offensive. So both these companies are moving, assuming that the deal's kind of not going to go through. While we do expect it to go through, they're both still growing, assuming the worst, that they would have to continue on their own. They're both, fending for themselves here, which is a good thing. The last article for AMD that I wanted to share, and I feel like this is very important for buyers in the market. This one came through the cracks. So AMD and Linux said that they have terms in place, and these haven't changed. But if you're a holder of Linux right now, and this deal does come to fruition, and AMD buys it, for every 1 share of Linux you have, they're going to give you 1.7234 shares of AMD. And so this is a catch here. If you really believe in this deal that it's going to happen, currently Linux is trading at about 198, and AMD, as we showed earlier, is at 136. So if you take that 136, times it by 1.72, we would expect Linux to be about 234. And the fact that it's less than 200, this is a screaming deal for you to buy Linux over AMD. Of course, the risk is if this deal doesn't come through, that's a concern, of course, because now you have stock in this company that you don't truly want. You just wanted a better deal for AMD, but it's something to think about. I'm thinking about it. I haven't done it, but it is something to think about. Moving on to KLIC. So with KLIC, we don't have much news here, but it did start off around 56. It's now at about 60.5. The only news that I found was that an investment company actually sold out of KLIC. So if anything, we kind of would have thought shares would go down a little bit, and here they actually went up. Once again, that was just one company though. Moving on to M.D.C. Started off the week at around 51, currently around 54.9. Only a couple things we saw here in terms of quarterly numbers. They're expected to release their fourth quarter numbers at around February 1st, 2022. And also we have some concerns as far as the wood costs have shot up recently. Maybe some of you are aware of that. So once again, this is a supply chain issue. So it's, let's see, accumulation of distribution ratings show that likely many other companies such as M.D.C stock have yet the backing of institutional investors like mutual funds and ETFs. We already knew that. Not many corporations, investment companies are into this one, just like KLIC. But the ones that they do have, I guess they're saying because of supply chain reasons, they're kind of staying away from that. But so that's all the news we have for M.D.C. So let's jump into our technical analysis. So going back to AMD here, you can see that they actually kind of broke out of this uptrend that we have marked here. But something of interest is they're actually kind of sideways consolidating right between some of the markers we set up from last week at this roughly 130 mark. You can see even just this past week, it dipped below slightly, but immediately bounced back up. And even here we have more consolidation where it literally almost touched the line we set up and immediately popped back up. So right around here, I would say this is a decent buying opportunity, especially as that line holds strong. If it does dip, we could see it drop back to closer to 120, but right now it seems like that 130-ish mark is a very strong support line. Otherwise, we're looking to hopefully get back up to this uptrend mark, close to 156. That would be our breakout moment. But right now, as long as we're sideways consolidating, it seems like that 130 mark is a good time to buy, and 156, 157 is kind of like a high point until we can see probably around that Q4 release numbers. That's when we'll see something occur there. Moving on to KLIC. Let's see what we have here. KLIC is still moving in the uptrend area. It seems like as they get closer to it, they immediately pop back up. We can zoom in a little bit. Otherwise, we are still pretty much in that range that we set up previously between 54 and 63. Right now we're at about 60, so we're kind of getting closer to that 63 mark, the high end. So this will be a time to see if we can grow above that 63 mark. But otherwise, it seems like they're kind of consolidating right in that range too. So I probably wouldn't touch this one right now. I would want to see how it goes because it's right in the middle. Not really a good time to buy, not really a good time to sell either. It's just right in the middle. So I'm waiting to see if this one, just how it shakes out over the week. And finally, we have M.D.C. So this one's actually getting close to our high line. We are still in that uptrend. And as we approach 56, I kind of would imagine this one's going to kind of pull back a little bit. Let's stretch this one out. I could definitely see this one bouncing back, getting rejected around 56. We do have highs back here, let's see, a few months ago, just like in May, where it was in the 63. So maybe if it goes above that 56, we could easily start to test that 63 line again. But otherwise, it's been consolidating sideways like this since mid-June. So I could see this one getting rejected here again, maybe pulling back into, depending on how quickly it pulls back, maybe between 52 and 53. That might be the next buying opportunity. But we'll see how this one shakes out. Once again, I would imagine this one's going to pull back pretty soon. But right around here, we could see a test of new highs. But yeah, I'd hedge more on the side of this one's going to pull back as opposed to going up higher in this coming week. So that pretty much wraps up this cam recap show. Moving forward, I'm probably going to start transitioning into semiconductor stocks, such as AMD, focusing more on that industry. I will still, of course, have updates for KLIC and MDC, but I'm probably going to start pulling in stocks such as NVIDIA, Intel, as you can see on the right-hand side. Probably less NVIDIA just because a lot of people already do that stock, but maybe more Intel, Qualcomm, TSM, Marvel, just to name a few. So that's just something to look into in the future. But otherwise, if you like this, please like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next week's recap. So have a great weekend. Bye.